Hey everybody, I'm Dan Fredenberg, and this is for the Figure It Out Dream Job series, where I interview people who have an enviable job or achievement, and I ask the questions that could help you decide whether it's something that you want to pursue. And in every episode, I ask the Figure It Out question, which is, how can somebody achieve what my guest has done if they have no friends, no family, and no cash, with an emphasis on which personality traits need to be cultivated or which ones need to be eliminated to get there. I'm also the host of Chess with Investors, as featured on chesswithinvestors.com, which is how I had the good fortune to have connected with my guest today. Today, I am joined by Grandmaster Saša Martinović, all the way from Croatia, who is rated over 3,000 in Bullet on Lead Chess. And if you're not aware, there are fewer chess grandmasters on earth than billionaires, and I bet you and I both have a few questions about what is it like inside the head of a current or aspiring soon-to-be grandmaster, and here's our chance. So first of all, Saša, how are you doing today?
Hi Dan, thank you for inviting me. Always a joy to talk to you. Well, I'm doing great over this Christmas holidays. I'm finally in my hometown, so as you can see,
excellent.
And everything is great.
Great. So, and then I've said almost nothing about you so far. Can you please introduce yourself a little bit more to the audience?
Sure. Except being a grandmaster. Okay, you mentioned my lead chess rating is over 3,000, but okay, that's not the proudest thing for me. But okay, except being a chess grandmaster, I'm of course a proud husband, and I have a wonderful, almost 3 years old daughter. I have a master's degree in pedagogy, but of course my main job is chess. Yeah, so I'm much more nowadays coaching other, but of course people are knowing me better as an active chess player, and there have great results, I would say. So one of the biggest achievements I guess is getting the FIDE rating over 2600, being a national champion in the year 2020, or I would also say definitely one of the biggest achievements is to qualify for the World Cup, where I got until round 2. But I was eliminated by the world champion himself, Magnus Carlsen, and of course this is one of my most memorable. Yeah.
Hey there, my 9-year-old daughter has a reminder for you using this paper katana, and that is to make sure you hit the gear and use the speed controls, because it changes it from this, ready, into this. Like magic. Yeah, I bet. And you mentioned a little bit of what that's like playing against Magnus. Did you feel the Magnus effect, as they call it on the internet? Which, just so you know, the Magnus effect is where people play a little bit worse just because they realize they're playing against Magnus Carlsen. So did you have that feeling at all, Saša?
Well, in the first game, definitely. Yeah, I came to the game because it was a match. Yeah, I even had the opportunity to play 2 games against him. And in the first game, definitely, I felt so nervous. Yeah, so 100 cameras, 10,000 of people watching live. So I never felt so nervous. Also, Magnus, yeah, was there, and yeah, I'm not only a chess grandmaster, I'm also a big chess fan. Yeah, so and my whole life I'm enjoying his games, and it was a huge opportunity. It also was accident that it happened exactly on my 30th birthday. So probably best birthday gift ever. So. Yeah.
I bet. I bet. And so he's also known for doing the strategy of just trying to get people out of book as quickly as possible and just doing something just really, really unusual. Is that what you found when you were playing him?
Exactly, in both games, actually. He probably also, or his coach told him that actually my biggest expertise is in openings, and in both games he surprised me very early on, so I was out of book very quickly.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. All right, and so if we get right into it, the first round of questions is going to be more for people in the audience who aspire towards greatness in chess. Now, I have no doubt that becoming a chess grandmaster is a similar level of competition and discipline that it requires to become a more professional, a more traditional professional athlete, be it football, baseball, soccer, hockey, or different Olympic sports. Do you find that that's like a similar level, or is it an even smaller part of the population, or what are your thoughts?
I agree completely, yeah. So you need the same dedication, you need the same level of discipline. The only difference is, I think, in some sports, as you mentioned, you need to have more physical exercising, to have a better diet, I would say. While in chess, I think it compensates with the drawback that you need more time. I think chess is by far the most time-consuming sport in the world because it's a mental sport. It's easy to explain. I mean, you can train for 14 hours per day on a chessboard, yeah, while you cannot run 14 hours. So it's definitely more time-consuming. You could say you could work less, yes, but if your rivals are doing it, you will fall behind. That's the problem. So you need to spend a lot of time on chess.
Yeah, that makes sense. And so that would actually dovetails into my next question, which is there a limit as far as when, after a certain number of hours of chess study per day, you're basically getting diminished returns, or it's not going to help as much in your, especially with your background in education, the master's degree in pedagogy. Like, what are your thoughts or findings as far as the limit of study per day?
Well, it really depends from person to person. If somebody is studying 3 hours and he gets tired after it, of course he shouldn't continue. So I think it really depends. So actually, I read some books from Garry Kasparov, and he actually is also talking about different talents in chess. And he's saying that the ability to work hard is a talent, and not everybody has it. Yeah. So, and I think I can be happy to say that hard work is probably my biggest talent because I'm known in my country as a hardworking person, and I am the one who actually could work more than 10 hours per day. And actually, when I was a kid, I did it. I did it regularly. If there was no school, I was spending all my days just studying chess. Nowadays, unfortunately, things changed. I got a bit older, and well, half of the day I have to spend time with my daughter when my wife is working, and half of the day I'm coaching others. So nowadays I don't have that time. But still, when I'm playing a tournament, I still have these qualities. For instance, I'm preparing, if I'm playing one classical game per day, I'm preparing in average, I think, 6-7 hours. And okay, the game is also lasting 4 or 5 hours, and yeah, then do the math. So I'm still very hard working, but nowadays I have to compensate it, yeah, because I cannot use the other time to work on chess.
And that also dovetails once more to my next question, and it actually comes from a quote I saw on YouTube from Magnus. Basically, to paraphrase what he said, to improve at chess, he recommended to find a way to love the game, which sounds exactly like what you're saying here, and it makes sense because it seems to me that with the different things that I've tried, I'm not so much a journeyman or like even like a wannabe or something like that. I always want to dive really deep into different skills that I learn just to find out, well, what does it take to be at the top? Is it one of those things where, like if it's a roll of the dice, then it's all down to luck. There's no real skill involved. Like if you use poker as another example, there's definitely skill involved, but luck kind of takes over. Whereas I don't think chess is like that at all. But so first of all, you already mentioned that that's what you believe. But what can you tell people to find that love, or maybe regain that love or motivation to improve at chess? What are some of the tricks that have worked for you?
Well, first of all, the first part of the question, about loving the game. I mean, I completely agree with that. Yeah. Without loving the game, of course, I wouldn't even be able to work so many hours, so many days, so many months. So love, of course, is the most important thing, especially if you want to be a professional player. So I actually love this famous quote of Mark Twain. He said, "Find a job you love doing, and you'll never have to work a day in your life." So, and I can actually be blessed that
Yeah.
I love chess so much. I love it at first sight, and now I'm doing it for a living. So I don't feel that I'm doing anything, and still I'm making a living out of it. So I feel really, really blessed with it. How to motivate
Right.
somebody to love the game, that's a different story. I'm not sure if I can help with that because everybody has his own motivation. Yeah? Somebody will love the game because he will be motivated to play the game because he wants to beat his older sister, his older brother, his dad. Somebody will love the game because he has the opportunity to go to tournaments, to travel around. So many different reasons. Somebody loves the game, okay, because it's so intriguing. Yeah? And so, yeah, everybody has to find his own way why he loves the game or why he doesn't, which is also fine, of course.
Yep, yeah, that makes perfect sense, and I know that people are here to get your opinion more than mine. But me personally, there are a couple. One of them that I find sustains me in my interest in chess is when I look at a chess position, I feel like I should be able to see what an either great or the best continuation is going to be, and so that jumps over. Like even when I feel a little bit sick of chess, it overrides that reluctance or lack of motivation. It's like, okay, it's got to be in there somewhere. I want to find it. But the other one is that my son, he started to be about equal, maybe a little bit better than me at chess, and so I had to really hit the books and study hard in order to keep ahead of him. But on top of staying ahead of him, it's I also wanted to be a good influence on him, to show him, if you are going for world-class competition, who are you up against? Because it is going to include that, 4 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours, however many hours per day on a fairly regular basis to do it. So I love that you said that. But my next question, it has to do with tilt. And tilt is the term that we use in chess and also in poker, where you just can't seem to do a good move. You just seem to make lots of mistakes. Or even if you're playing well, you end up losing. I think part of it is, for me anyway, when I did my first stint of like a few thousand games in a short period of time, as in months, I found that it was because I started to refuse to calculate. I'd be like, okay, this has to be a good move because it threatens this, that, and the other thing. But that's the mistake of tilt, and you can correct me if you have a different interpretation of it. But I think the more useful thing to the audience is what are some tricks you found to get out of tilt? So what are your thoughts?
Well, I may be not the best person to talk about it. So, especially I know you're a fan of online chess. So, and in online chess, really, if I lose a game in a very silly way, I can easily lose 10 in a row just being mentally not there. So, in online chess, it's a bit different. Although, if you're talking about classical chess, I think I'm much better there, because at one point I realized that, okay, of course, first of all, everybody's annoyed if he realizes he made a mistake. Yeah. And then tilt, of course, can come there even during the game, but that's something which you get by experience. So I understood that everybody's making mistakes. You cannot really avoid them, and it will happen. And you can nothing do about it. So you just have to focus on the present. Yeah, you have enough problems even in the position you have right now. So you just have to focus on them and forget what happened. Yeah, just be in peace with it. So that's my only advice there.
Yeah,
So
that makes
while
sense.
yeah, in online chess it's different. I don't know. So maybe it's not so important to me, and yeah, I just say okay,
Yeah,
let's
yeah, I
go
hear you. I
on.
hear you.
Actually, yeah, if you play bullet, there is not even time to think about anything. You're just feeling your emotions and reacting to them.
Right, right, exactly. It's a clown show. The one there's one quote that I'll throw out there for anybody else who heard it. It's from the late Daniel Naroditsky. He said that the trick for getting at a tilt was you have to win a game that you totally didn't deserve to win. It's basically, if it's a complete steal, then suddenly, okay, I'm fine with reality and everything. But that's a funny one. Anyway, so one bad habit I have, and with your background in pedagogy, you probably ran into the difference between static and growth mindsets. And one way that I have a bad habit of adopting the static mindset. In other words, people are one way and they're not going to particularly change what their capabilities are, that sort of thing. One part of that is when it comes to skill building, I tend to believe that people have sort of a hard limit to their potential, and even love of the ability, it can't get overcome. I particularly found that true as a guitar teacher, as a teenager, when I met loads of people who just absolutely loved music and guitar, and possibly even more than I did, but they never reach even what I'd call an intermediate level. So my question, though, is, in your opinion, is in chess, does it always come down to the right type of training or discipline, or have you found that there are hard limits for most people, even beyond just like getting bored or frustrated? Yeah, because I think that's really the reason why most people give up. They just start to realize how much effort they're going to have to put into it, and they realize it's like, that's just not for me. What are your thoughts? Like, do people have hard limits as far as their potential in chess?
Well, the nice thing to say would be, no, yeah, there are no limits. You can achieve everything you want. But yeah, as you said, unfortunately, it's not how it's working. I mean, there are many factors that can, yeah, that can show you plateau. Yeah, like talent, intelligence, age, motivation, self-belief, financial capabilities. Yes, sometimes you cannot afford everything you need to become a good player. So yeah, I agree with you. There are limits always.
Okay, okay, and this might seem a little bit catty, honestly, as in like a little bit negative. But I now that I'm looking at the question, I realize I can backpedal and say one thing I found is I'll also, when I'm looking at or playing against people online with a similar rating to me, I will gravitate towards the number of games that they've played. And so if they've achieved my rating but done far fewer games, I start to feel bad about myself. But at the same time, if somebody has a similar rating, honestly, if they've played way more games than I have, I start to go, okay, so like, did they hit their limit, or what exactly is it? So I guess I'm leading questions by putting words in your mouth by saying this, but how many rated games does someone have to play before you know they basically have no potential at chess? Like what sort of number do you feel is indicative of if they're really going to progress significantly?
Well, maybe you understood me wrong. I don't think that there are people who have no potential for chess. Yeah, I believe everybody can improve, but I don't believe everybody can become Magnus Carlsen or a grandmaster. Yeah, so that's the thing. I really believe everybody with the right discipline and training can achieve some rating. Let's say I really believe if you're young enough, of course, that you can achieve the rating of 2000. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there are limits in that way. Yeah, so everybody has potential, and that's why the question is difficult to answer for me. I don't know how much he can go, but I believe in everybody that he can improve. I think that's the most important thing in life, to improve in the things you love.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And so it just to keep on pushing and be brutal about it. So it's like 5,000, 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 games. You figure that if they are at 20,000, they haven't got a whole lot of progress, or they've just been floating around the same area. You figure it's they're not studying the right way. They need some insight by somebody better than they are to figure out how to get to the next step. What are your thoughts on the numbers and the cures?
Absolutely. Even if you play 100,000 games and you have the same level, I still believe in you, because I think you should change something in the way how you are playing. Yeah. Maybe stop playing so many games, for instance, yeah, or play so many games, but try to find the time to analyze it. So I think that's the most important thing. Yeah. Because
Mm-hmm,
just
mm-hmm.
playing games, you will not improve. Yeah, so fast.
Right, right. Especially in faster formats where you're just, throwing stuff at the wall and trying not to time out, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Excellent, excellent. So now, one thing I noticed as I was studying more, partly is because of my background in Buddhism and meditation and mindfulness, I noticed how my visualization of the board and tactics, how it improved as I took chess more seriously. And I know that some people, they play blindfold chess for that sort of reason. Do you think that learning to play blindfold chess helps in any way?
Not so much as you would maybe expect. So I'm actually, yeah, I'm not a big fan. I personally am horrible in blindfold chess. So compared to my colleagues, to my grandmaster colleagues. So, and I actually know the statement about from Mikhail Botvinnik, the former world champion and also one of the main important figures in the Soviet chess school. And he said actually that blindfold chess can be harmful. Yeah, he said you shouldn't do it. So the
Hmm.
whole Soviet school, I mean, chess school is about that, yeah, about that advice. Of course, I think it can be useful in some practical aspects. For instance, if you're reading a chess book, which I would always recommend to anybody, you don't need a chess set. Yeah, you can just go through it blindly, and that's of course, yeah, sparing some time, and it's useful for that. Also, you can analyze with your opponent blindly. You don't have to look for analysis room, and so there are many different practical aspects there. But for a real game, I really don't think it's so useful because. Well, when you are calculating something, I guess the whole point why blindfold chess should be considered as good for your chess is that you have better visualization, you can better calculate lines. But if you play blindfold chess, you have to spend all your energy for the whole game. Well, when you are calculating, usually the most part of calculations is 2, 3 moves ahead. Yeah, you usually don't calculate 10 moves ahead. Sometimes you are if you're on professional level, but still, for 2, 3 moves, you don't have to spend so much energy. I mean, to visualize so dramatically, like in blindfold chess. So
Right.
I don't bother with that. Yeah. So if you're learning the game, there are much more useful advices to be better than to practice in
Mhm.
blindfold chess, in my opinion.
Right, that makes sense. There is a big aspect of it that I think it's a little bit of a parlor trick, right? And so it's not so much a pure chess sort of thing. But my next question, let's talk about you mentioned that when it comes to becoming a chess grandmaster and so on, with other professional sports, you're going to be exercising a whole lot more. And this question is about physical and mental endurance, and it's kind of a funny question. I dug into your Lichess a little bit deeper. I found that on Lichess, May 3rd, 2024, you had a nearly 7-hour session where you played nearly 250 games in a row. What happened that day?
I really don't know. It's so long time ago, but I'm actually surprised that there are no longer streaks. I mean, because I would say last summer I played even more, but okay, probably you're right. You did the research. But there are many reasons why somebody would play for so long. Yeah, somebody's addicted, somebody sets a goal and he wants to come there. There are also some emotional things you can cure with it. Okay, it's a funny question. I got a sad answer there. For instance, I think this summer I played the most, but I got horrible news because my father was diagnosed with some kidney cancer, and many members of my family died because of cancer. And of course, I was depressed, and I didn't want to think about it. It was so hard for me. And well, ways to escape such situation is either get drunk, take some drugs, or play bullet chess and lead chess. So and well, I'm
Yeah.
doing the left because it's the healthiest way. And yeah, till his surgery went well, I was just playing bullet. Yeah, so it took me a few months. But yeah, that's the best way to not think about something. So lichess can be good, bullet can be great to escape from reality. Yeah, sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
wow. I didn't expect that. I'm sorry to hear about your father, but I can absolutely relate. That's something that I do as well, and I chalk it up to when the world seems like it doesn't follow any logic, it doesn't have any reason or method or anything to it. Chess is like this island of logic and causation where things always play by the rules. There might be something hiding in there that you didn't see, but it's still playing by the rules. So
yeah.
yeah, that's so. But after a big day of chess, you find it like, do you just collapse in bed? You're just like out like a light mentally. You're just completely spent, or are you just like just a typical any other day sort of thing? Do you find?
Just like any other day, I'm used to sleep well. Okay, I'm not. That's the thing. I'm not sleeping so much, so maybe an average 5, 6 hours only. So I guess that day I slept well. So it's not a problem for me. I'm used to play so much better.
Yep, that makes sense. That makes sense. And so, as far as other ways to improve at chess outside of actually playing or studying or something like that, are there any other activities that you find help chess performance, like stretching, yoga, certain types of exercise, and more what I'm interested in. Like, I understand that you have some answers for yourself. In these shows, I tend to be more focused on the community of people who are more or less at your level, and what tends to work for the most people. But if you have some that work for yourself, please add those as well. But what are activities you find tend to help people in their chess performance?
Well, it's interesting that you mentioned all this, yeah, that you were in Buddhism. I didn't know that. So actually, you are answering, half of half of my questions because exactly that the activity I would tell you as an answer, even if you wouldn't mention it. Because, for instance, by far the best nation, the chess nation, which is by far the best nowadays, in my opinion, is India. And then, yeah, my logic is why not to copy paste what they are doing, and they are mostly famous by yoga and meditation. And so meditation is definitely one thing I adopted the last few years, and it helps me a lot to get calm during the game and to visualize things and visualize successes and so on. While yoga is something I really would love to do more. So somehow in Croatia, it's not so popular among males. Yeah, so There are many yoga classes, but I'm shy to go there because yeah, there are always 20 women and not a single man there, and I'm shy anyway, so I'm not going there. I had this trick last year. I sent my wife there, so she went for a few months to yoga classes. She learned some exercises, and she taught that to me. So I'm doing these few exercises regularly nowadays, but still, it's not the same effect as yeah, doing it regularly how it should be. So I agree completely with you. I think yoga, meditation are the things that definitely can improve your chest. But of course, any sport is useful. I mean, for this yeah, endurance things and so on.
Yeah, yeah. It's funny you mention that because with Chess with Investors, I interact with a lot of real estate investors, syndicators, people who are stock pickers and things like that. And so a lot of the time on the internet, they tend to be more amused with the little sayings in chess that sound a little bit racy. And I'm just thinking about pickup lines you could use if you wanted to be really cringy at a chess tournament. You know, something about forking a queen or something like that. But that's the most popular one of the bunch. But anyway, let's move on here. Let's get a little bit more serious and about the actual study that helps people a little bit more. I found that many high-level players, they claim that chess puzzles do more to improve chess skill than often playing matches. And in your own words, I'm basically taking that chess puzzles are useful. I realize that you have to have the right kind of chess puzzles. Personally, I'm not a fan of the daily puzzles on chess.com just because they're just too random. You probably won't find that position in your own games anyway. So solving them, it'll lack a little bit of pragmatic skills. But what are some of the benefits that you find come from chess puzzles compared to other forms of study or just playing games online?
Well, puzzles are of course very important because usually they are tactical puzzles. Yeah, I guess you're talking about such kind of puzzles. Yeah, when you're mentioning chess.com or Lichess, they have all kinds of tactical puzzles. So I think they're very useful to improve your tactical vision and also your calculation skills. Depends on what level you are solving. Mostly it's about tactical vision, but for online chess, that's especially important. Yeah, so because in online chess, yeah, very rarely you decide a game by deep strategy. So it's more about these little tactical tricks. But for a real game, of course, you need more. Yeah, and in general, I would say again the same thing I said. I think playing games is very useful, but you don't have to play 100 games per day. I mean, that's the thing. You have to choose one number which you can analyze after that. So the most important thing when you're playing games is to analyze them. I'm saying to my students, you don't have to analyze the whole game. Yeah, at least look at the opening. So don't repeat the same mistakes you did in the same position you had 2 days before. So at least do that. On a professional level, of course, it's much tougher. Yeah, I had a coach, Grandmaster and sometimes I analyze my classical games. I mean, we spend sometimes 20, 30 hours for only one game. So of course that's crazy. I'm not recommending that for you, but if the game has a lot to learn from, why not? Yeah. So you get some great material. You can also do calculation training from that. Yeah. Because in every position I played against him. Yeah. He had his recommendations, and yeah, I try to refute it. So you also learn calculation and everything. So everything is in your games. So I actually really think it is the best method. There is a reason why people are saying that analyzing of your own games is the most important in chess development.
Right, and just so you know, and everybody in the audience knows, the reference I was making to more useful puzzles is that on Lichess they do have the option to go into your opening and get puzzles that are specific to things that happen in, say, like a Sicilian or whatever King's Indian attack, whatever you tend to be up to. So that's where I'm coming from. But so you're mentioning the benefits of these puzzles. We mentioned a few different things that people need to do once they've put in enough games and they've realized they've plateaued. Are those the reasons that you think the main reasons people plateau as far as a rating? They just can't seem to break to the next higher level. It's their disciplines in the wrong direction, or do you think it's just sporadic playing, or what are the biggest reasons you think people plateau?
Well, I think I mentioned that already. Just okay. There are many natural factors as well. Yeah. For instance, you are studying the game as a kid, then you grow up and you want to improve, but somehow, yeah, now you have a family, you have a job, you just don't have enough time, and sometimes that's the reason why you plateau. Sometimes you want to get to some goal. Yeah, your goal is to get 2,000, and you just don't believe you can become a title player. So self-belief is also very important. Yeah, if you don't believe you can achieve something, you will probably not do it. So sometimes that's the reason. Sometimes, yeah, you need the motivation. Sometimes you're not talented enough. I mean, what to do? Yeah. So and also very underestimated thing. Somehow I have the feeling people don't want to talk about it, but your intelligence is also important. I mean, if your IQ is 180 like Magnus, is of course compared to my level. I mean, if he's doing just 5 hours per day and I'm doing 5 hours a day, of course, yeah, he's a genius. He will get more out of it. So there's no hard feeling to admit it. So yeah,
Right.
many factors. So,
Right, that makes sense. That makes sense. All right, and let's move on to something that's a little more timely as far as right now. If you look at the stock market, everything is AI, AI. I got a technical and computer background, so I'm paying attention to the fact that suddenly RAM has doubled and tripled in price if you're getting a new computer. This is we're just a couple days away from the first day of 2026, just so you have that as a reference. But with the reason why you've got this RAM increase in price is because they're creating it for AI data centers, and they found it's more profitable than making it for personal computers. So that's something that's going to be hitting cell phones, it's going to be hitting tablets, it's going to be hitting desktop computers, laptops, you name it. They're all going to increase in price just because of that part. But one thing that I think is absolutely amazing getting involved in chess is that most people know that it was it wasn't even the year 2000 when Deep Blue ended up beating Garry Kasparov, who he was the world champion for about 20 years or so before that even happened. So he was basically considered like practically unbeatable at that point. And then this computer comes around, and I think tilt had a little bit to do with it as well at one point. And Garry was trying to trick the computer, which isn't generally a great strategy with especially with more modern engines. But the thing that I find amazing is rather than everybody just saying like, okay, well, we're never going to beat these computers anymore, we decided to use them as tutors, to give them guidance, and realize that the point of chess is not to beat the computers, it's to beat that guy over there. so it's all the human opponents that make it really matter. So again, people are really only competing against other people, and there are far superior engines out there than any tutors really are. But as a person who focused on education as you did, and successful strategy at the game rather than how I focused on tech, what are your thoughts about the harmonious relationships between computers and each other inside and outside of the game? Like you can reference chess, and then also if you think that what chess has done by using guidance from the engines, what does that tell us as far as how AI is going to become a bigger part of our lives? If you want to say a thing like that, if you feel you're able.
yeah, I'm not a big expert in AI generally, but the influence of computers is just tremendous. Yeah. So I think they change everything in chess, especially the competition. Because previously, as you know, I mean, chess was just played in the Soviets. I mean, the Soviets were by far the best chess players. Nowadays, you can become world champion in every country, and that's all because of computers. Because everybody in the whole world gets the same access of information. Uh, Not only mentioning that you can online have a coach. Yeah, you do not have. I mean, previously Soviet school was so strong because yeah, everybody was based in Russia, and yeah, they have all the knowledge. Nowadays, the knowledge is accessible from every part of the world. So internet changed a lot there. Other thing is of course the engines. Yeah, so they just show the best moves at any situation. I mean, you don't have to pay for it. I mean, Stockfish is completely free. So everybody has access to the best moves in every opening line. So that brought us to the situation where the level of grandmaster was never so there was never previously the difference between a grandmaster and an amateur player was huge. Yeah, so you could easily win a game, even with the same idea you can win 5 games in a row. Yeah. But nowadays everybody is prepared, everybody knows these openings, these lines, and it's difficult. Yeah, there is no easy opponent nowadays. Yeah. Everybody knows how to play chess, and everybody is a tough opponent thanks to the computers.
Yeah,
Also,
absolutely.
many aspects of the game were improved. I would actually say the biggest change is in the defense. Yes. So nowadays computers are pretty much defending every position. We all are a bit regretting the old times of yeah Nesmedinov, Morphy, and yeah, these tactical monsters. Yeah, they sacrificed something and they made this guy in 10 moves. But nowadays it's not working at all. Yeah, we all know that yeah, the computer would defend such a position, so we get also the confidence that we can do it. We learn how to defend, and so I would say defense is the yeah.
That makes
Has improved.
perfect sense. Right, right. And now I also saw another online grandmaster. He was talking about basically the shortcomings of using an engine. And the short version is he was saying that using, for example, chess.com's game analysis, even Lee Chess's game analysis, they stop being a good coach as soon as it recommends a move that the player doesn't really understand. So therefore, the idea is if you don't understand it, it's going to be difficult for you to memorize and maybe difficult for you to figure out the follow-up that had in mind. But you know, since engines are ultimately everyone's coach now, what are your thoughts on lines that don't make practical sense? Like and I'll add the caveat is recently I've found that when I see a weird engine line from Ooga Booga Land, usually I can actually see after 3 moves, it's like, okay, yeah, that makes perfect sense. And it's not so much, it's like, oh, okay, yeah, no, move 27 after this move, then you're going to be really thankful you did like H3. You know, just some little innocuous looking move or something like that. So what are your thoughts about lines that don't make practical sense?
Okay, if I understand you correctly, you're speaking mostly about open lines and computer moves there. And I would actually agree with the grandmaster who said that that you should avoid such lines, because on an amateur level you should really play what you understand. Yeah? So there is no reason now to click through the lines, compare it with each other, and spend half an hour to try to understand one move. Just pick something which feels more natural. But on the professional level, it's a bit different because yeah, I am doing it often. Yeah? I see a computer move which I don't understand. I will spend this time. Because if I go into such position which looks very complex, and if I don't understand it, there's a huge chance that my opponent is also not understanding. But if I'm very well prepared, I can use it to my favor. Yeah, if I spend some time analyzing with the computer, try to understand it, I think that's the situation where I get most benefits of it. Yeah, so to try to understand unhuman positions. Yeah, I'm actually famous for that. Yeah, to play many computer moves in the openings and analyze them deeply. So I try to use all options I have to outplay my opponent in the openings.
Right, right. That's why we get along so well, right? But the next question I have here is that since you're a grandmaster, that means at your level, if you play against a cheater, someone who has engine assistance in their games, and it doesn't matter if it's over the board, which, you know, some people are arguing that that's super rare, where you're in an over the board, in other words, you're using a physical board to play the game. It's rare for people to cheat in that kind of environment, apparently statistically. Whereas online, there are plenty of tools where you can secretly put on, you know, some sort of engine where it'll recommend what to do. Even though there are also countermeasures that chess.com has, like Proctor, to see what other applications you've got there. But especially since losing has a financial impact on you a lot more than typical people, what are your thoughts on the subject of people cheating?
Well, to me, you said it makes no difference, but to me it makes a huge difference if it's online or over the board. Because if it's online, what can I do? So actually, the thing I am doing, I'm avoiding any cash prize tournaments. So I'm literally not playing them because it's not that I'm choosing people, but I'm getting paranoid because I think it's really not that hard to cheat. And if people have the opportunity to cheat for money, I think they will. So I don't want to believe in these measures you mentioned by chess company chess because I'm just too much afraid. The only prize events actually I was playing recently are these Freestyle Fridays, but that's not because I want to earn any money. It's just because I was completely crazy about chess 960. I played it with my friends the whole summer, and it was just fun. Yeah, so I just played it for fun, enjoying chess. Yeah. So
Right, right.
online, I'm
Yeah,
just
that.
avoiding. Over the board is different, but over the board, what can I do? Yeah, I just have to believe that the arbiters, the team is doing their job, and the anti-cheating measures are fine. If somebody is cheating, I never had the feeling that somebody cheated against me, I have to say. So I'm not worrying that much because yeah, there's nothing I can do anyway. So, so I'm
Yeah, that
fine with
makes
it.
sense. That makes sense. I know that I had the suspicion that online I was encountering cheaters really, really often on basically, I think it's around 8,000 games, somewhere around that neck of the woods. Maybe it was less than that. Maybe it was like closer to 7,000. I found that 121 of the games that I played, their opponents got their account shut down for fair play abuse. Now, of course, I noticed that some of them I won, some of them was on time, some of it was, they basically stopped cheating. Maybe they were cheating against somebody else and not against me. But I think that like that number there, it shows that the prevalence isn't quite so dire. It's not like, every other player you're playing is cheating or something like that. And that's something that I think is nice about chess, is it shows the level of human ingenuity, especially if they're running into something. So I'm just throwing those ideas out there. But especially given that this discussion of cheating, fewer than 2% of players ever become titled. In your opinion, like, is it worth it? Under which circumstances do you find it's really worth it? Like, is it like music, where typically to make a living, there's going to be a teaching component in your way to support yourself? Like, is that the incentive to become titled, or what do you think about the value in becoming a titled player?
Well, I'm in this 2%, so obviously I think it was worth it. But I really want to believe that it's worth also for this 98% who didn't get title players, if they love the game. Yeah, so if you love what you're doing, I mean, what's wrong with it? So isn't that the purpose of life? So, so
That makes
whoever plays
sense.
chess, I think, yeah, it's a win-win situation. If you achieve your goals, great. If not, also great. So anyway, it's
Right.
worth to play chess.
Excellent, excellent. So, and then orbiting around the figure it out question, which is how do you achieve what you've done if you have no friends, no family, or cash? In your situation, I'm going to get a little bit more specific. So, you live in Europe, and so because of that, the expenses involved to play in enough tournaments where you can get grandmaster norms, which I believe is basically just doing really, really well or winning tournaments that have grandmasters in them. Basically, the cost of that would be far lower than they would be in North America to achieve the same thing. Like, you'd have to fly really far, or the driving would be insane. I do believe that the costs are higher in my part of the world than over you, because I believe in Europe the prevalence of chess as a pursuit is a lot higher. But assuming that you're massively talented, so you're not the type of person where your norms are dragged out over 10 or 15 years or something like that. What sort of financial commitment is involved to become a titled player in Europe, especially since I heard a WGM say that anyone can be a GM if they have no life, no girlfriend, and a couple $1,000,000. And honestly, I don't believe her. I just can't, maybe I'm not good enough yet to know the truth, but what is the financial cost, or whatever, the financial commitment to get to be a titled player or a GM? And what do you think of that statement that that's all you need is a couple $1,000,000 and all the time in the world and no life?
Okay, first, you mentioned this quote, right? Who said that? Some.
That was Nemo, the WGM. She's Canadian, yeah, but she grew up in Finland and is of Chinese descent.
Yeah, she's a famous streamer. I heard about her.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Okay. No, the first unbelievable thing, and why I don't believe her, is that, well, if you have a couple of $1,000,000, you don't have a girlfriend. Yeah, so I'm very unlikely. I'm like this. Joking a bit, but yeah. Yeah, about the financial situation, it's not easy. This is an expensive sport. If you want to chase your GM norms, your titles, you need to travel a lot. So that's the first thing. So to be honest, I don't know what the costs are nowadays. Nowadays, everything is more expensive, because when I was chasing them, I was 18 years old, yeah, and then, so this was some 17 years ago, and yeah, life was not that expensive, but still it was expensive to travel around the world to play tournaments. Another financial cost is, of course, the coaching. So there, I was very lucky, actually,
So
because sorry, you want to
Yeah.
say something?
Yeah. So are we like in order of magnitudes? Like, are we talking about some people be able to do it with merely tens of thousands of euros, or are we talking hundreds of thousands of euros, or keep going? Like what sort of?
It depends where you are living. For instance, I think a dream. You mentioned Europe is better than North America. For instance, I think a dream country to chase your titles is Spain. I mean, Spain, I think, has so many tournaments, and then maybe the costs are not, maybe a few thousand, 10,000 euros or something like that. Yeah, so it's a great country to play chess. Otherwise, I really don't know. Yeah, I'm not an expert in nowadays expenses. But yeah, the second part is of course to take a coach. Yeah, coaches are not that cheap nowadays. I had the luck there because the Croatian Chess Federation is had at my time had two employers who worked as coaches, two grandmasters, and I'm very thankful to them. So I spent hundreds of hours for free to work with two very strong grandmasters, Goran Dizdar, which I mentioned, and Zdenko Kozlov, the former European champion. So I was very blessed for such a situation. So at least I didn't have this cost. So. But also for my tournaments, I got very good conditions because my hometown supported me really well, and pretty much at that age I was doing fine.
Excellent, excellent. Yeah, that makes lots of sense. Okay, and so you've been on the staff of these of a world champion before, and I remember when we had a couple sessions with each other. You mentioned that if you are in the top 10, you're going to have a staff of maybe 10 people or a dozen. So we're talking seconds, we're talking a coach. I know that the other one that I've interacted with online, Hikaru Nakamura, he's got all sorts of moderators for his streaming activity, which is a little bit atypical. I think most of the time when you're a top 10 player or something like that, your staff is mostly focusing on your preparation. When does that kick in? Is it only like the top 100 GMs, or is it all GMs will have some sort of staff, or what sort of proportion are going to have multiple people just helping them stay at the top of their game?
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's top 100. I would say it's closer to top 10. Actually, the guys who are fighting for the world championship title, they can have 10 people working for them. So
That makes
mostly
sense. That makes
coaches,
sense.
seconds, sometimes managers, sometimes even masseuses, cooks. So I think Magnus had all them. So, but yeah, they have the money, so why not to spend it for the best for their chess.
Right, right. Okay. Now, one thing that I'm finding, especially online in the investor space, is a lot of people are starting to hold anti-university sentiments. Like they basically think that university education is mostly a scam, and part of the reason is they say that is because people can learn from YouTube on their own. Now, of course, it's somewhat common, like top chess players, to even drop out of high school. Like I know Fabiano Caruana, he dropped out of high school at a young age. But then you also have people like Maxime Vachier-Legrave, MVL, and he's got a PhD in mathematics. You've got your master's degree. So my question is, what % of the high-ranking players that you're aware of, or titled players, they just forego, they actually do a similar anti-university sort of approach and just forego the norms, the tournaments, all that sort of stuff, and just stick to online?
I don't think many, because how can you become a world class player if you're not playing? If I understand the question right, so how can you become a world class player if you're just playing online? So because the definition of a world class player is that you have the title, you have the rating, and playing only online, you cannot really do it.
Right, right, right. So on that note, then, if people have the IM or the GM titles, do you find they generally outperform people who, or maybe they're at least like more consistent in their playing than people with similarly high ratings but no titles? So I mean, like maybe like 2,500 rated and beyond. Do you find that the title means something just beyond a number, or do you find that if somebody's 2,500, they're 2,500? It doesn't matter if they have norms and tournaments and all that sort of stuff. Do you, because I know that you've beaten all sorts of people who are in these like upper 2,000s and whatnot. You are the level where you would be able to notice, hey, I'm going against an IM, I need to be careful. I'm going against a GM, I need to be careful. Or is it more like I'm going against a 2950 or like a 3100 that has more meaning as far as how the outcome is going to go, the amount of challenge? Do you find that those titles account for something in that sense?
Yeah, I definitely believe there is a correlation. So I'm not an expert so much in online chess. I'm not paying so much attention, but in general, yes. I mean, the best players are also title players. Maybe you see there is no title, but maybe I'm wrong, but it could be that it's an anonymous account and you don't know that there is a grandmaster sitting behind. I don't know if that could be the reason. That I didn't see so many players, yeah, on the top list of WeChess or chess.com which are not title players. Actually, I don't think there
Mm-hmm.
are some. So I'm really not sure what to answer, but my understanding is that there is a huge correlation. I mean, if you're a grandmaster or an IM, then you will become also a top online player. So there are also sometimes exceptions if you're really, that's happening actually often, but still you should be a title player to come to the top even in the online chess. Well, you can be better with the mouse, yeah, your mouse skills can be better and so on. Of course, online chess is a bit different there, but not, yeah, it has not so much, influence. So I
Right.
think I'm very skillful with the mouse, and I think I'm a better online player than over the board player. For instance, over the board blitz, I'm really not that great, but in online blitz, yeah, I'm not scared of it.
Yeah, and I love your modesty. It's hilarious. I personally I won't do in person bullet or blitz unless it's against my son because I'm just too afraid of knocking over pieces and all that sort of stuff. But I like it just because of the indicator of intelligence here. So I know that we're running low on time. One thing I wanted to mention, you did say the importance of opening theory and having something that's ready for everything. And I know that in German you have a chessable course on the French. And I'm going to have the link to that in the description, so make sure you can check that out there. But what are some other things you want to mention about your chessable course and that process and the benefits of going through that sort of approach to learning more?
Yeah, I'm definitely thankful that you mentioned my chessable course because I'm very proud of it and I got so many positive feedback there. Although, yeah, it is a problem for your audience, yeah, because yeah, it is in German, but maybe somebody is speaking German there. Even if not, it's really not that expensive. You get really high quality analysis for the opening and you get the move trainer. So I think it makes sense even to buy it if you don't speak German. Why I did it in German is because I grew up in Germany, so it's like my mother language, while in English I'm not feeling so comfortable. Uh, but yeah, I'm very proud of it, and it's also about my favorite openings. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I'm
Mm-hmm.
always glad to promote it a bit.
Absolutely, and I want to confirm what you just said. I see that the move trainer on chessable.com is very similar to using flashcards for different positions. It's like, okay, well, when you're on this move, what's the correct continuation? What's the most solid continuation? And doing that sort of things. It's very similar to learning languages. And I know you being Croatian, us speaking in English right now, you mentioned in German right there. Like Mandarin is my second language. I've spoken every single day for over 20 years. I mentioned that though, and it wasn't in the outline for you, so I apologize for this. But when it comes to, I heard one grandmaster say that learning chess is not like learning a language. And I get that I'm kind of opening a can of worms there. Do you find that the drilling, the flashcard style part of learning a language, do you find it's similar to chess? Do you disagree with this grandmaster? Do you think it's very similar to learning a language? What are your thoughts on that one?
Well, I'm not sure, but for kids, I think, for instance, it's similar. Yeah, they're taking everything as games, and okay, maybe not the best example because kids are actually better in anything to learn. So because of neuroplasticity and taking everything as a game. So it's hard to me to compare learning the language because now I'm struggling if I try to learn a new language, I'm struggling a lot. While when I was a kid, I learned German very easily. I mean, so I don't know if it's similar. So as a kid, everything is easy. Well, when you're adult, everything is difficult. So
Yeah,
that's why I'm
well,
arguing a lot of people.
kids aren't afraid of making mistakes, and as grown-ups, we definitely stop putting ourselves out there. You know, you of course are in a competitive environment, unlike most adults. But when you have your desk job or whatever it is you're doing, chances are you don't have that risk of not making the team or something like that. And so people tend to be armchair experts, and so they have that apprehension to making a mistake, being terrible at something, and I think that negatively affects in a lot of different ways there. But since we've mentioned language versus chess, have you found that being beyond 2000 rated or being titled, do you find that the skills that you've learned apply to anything else outside of chess?
The question is, do I, as a grandmaster, feel better than a, let's say, candidate master in outside the chessboard in something?
That's the question.
Okay, that's a funny guy. Of course, we are much smarter, we are more good looking, we are funnier, we are great lovers, everything, and of course we are big liars. So joking aside,
Excellent.
no, I think grandmasters are just noobs. There's everybody else in outside chess. Don't get me wrong. I think chess is very beneficial for many things. I mean, I did actually my master's degree with this paper where I did all the research. I mean, it's beneficial and for your creative thinking, for imagination, for memory, for your mathematical skills. But I don't think there's a difference between a 2000 player and a grandmaster. I mean, I think it is very important. I have many friends which are very successful, and they learn chess at a young age and they stopped. And I think this is the target to for all the beneficence in chess. Yeah. So I think it's a great tool to improve, but I don't think there is a difference. I would even say that stronger grandmasters are maybe less educated and have less skills outside the chess world. I mean, I don't know if you saw this recent video from this freestyle tour where the top level players had a cooking competition. So there is
No, I haven't.
there is a hilarious video. Partners were Arjun Erigaisi and Hans Niemann. And Hans Niemann asked Erigaisi, did he ever crack an egg? And can he do it? And he said, never. Yeah, I cannot do it. So this guy is racing.
Wow.
I mean, he rated 2800 classical. And, well, he doesn't know how to crack an egg. So I think,
Did you say that was Hans, or did you say Hans or Arjun? I didn't know how.
Arjun didn't know how to do it, but you should see Hans' reaction after that. It's just hilarious. So it's priceless. So just find the video. It's not difficult to find.
Okay, because I was just guessing. You know, if it's Arjun, it's like, okay, well, maybe he's a vegetarian from being Indian, but Hans, that's just that's not it. I don't want to throw too much shade on that one, but it is hilarious. But the other thing I wanted to mention before we go is I know that you're a coach. We had a couple sessions. I thought that was fantastic. I focused on the technical side, like chess base, and finding out basically how to use those tools to proceed. But one of the things, I remember you being happy that I said, okay, I think I want to hit 2000. I think that's enough for me. And you seem to have a little bit of relief because I'm going to paraphrase. You knew that I wasn't delusional. I actually had like a realistic chance of doing it if I was willing to put in enough years and whatnot. But my question for people considering lessons, I think that in many ways, the person who's a couple steps ahead of you in a lot of things is probably a better teacher for you than someone who's astronomically better than you. Like, for example, if you're learning, like if you are just coming out of bankruptcy or something like that, going to Warren Buffett for, advice on how to become more financially stable and successful, it's kind of overkill, or maybe, he's just not thinking at that level as far as what's possible for you. And I think that as a grandmaster, you're going to to run into that. You run into the risk of overcomplicating things. So my question for you is, when do you think that really you should stop going to the local club teacher and pursue a grandmaster? You know, when is it too early? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think you've said many interesting things, so I can refer also to that. So actually, you will not believe how many students I lost because of my honesty in these questions. Yeah, so I got many requests from parents who want, yeah, a grandmaster to teach their children chess. Yeah, and I'm always honest there. I think it makes no sense. Yeah, so they are beginners. Even for people who are close to beginner level, I don't think they should hire a grandmaster. Of course, if they insist and if they really have money, I will do it. So I don't think I'm bad at it. But I don't think some 1900 player, for instance, will be worse than I am by just showing the rules, the main concept. Maybe they will even be better because maybe I will just be annoyed if somebody is not true. If he doesn't know how to mate with king and rook against kings, yeah, I could be even more nervous than a 1900 patient guy. So definitely, if they're out, if they're listening, some people like that, they can contact me, but I will not accept them. I will just give good advices who to take as a coach. So for me, yeah, it's more important that we both get something out of the cooperation.
Yep.
So okay, I also lost a lot of students because yeah, somebody at age 50 is starting to play chess, and he said, okay, I want to become a grandmaster in the next 5 years. So of course, then I'm again very honest and saying, yeah, nothing out of that, and yeah, I'm losing this job, yeah, as a coach there. So when to start to work with a title player? Okay, that's a different question. So uh, I agree with you that okay, let's say you are 1700. A title player could be good, yeah, let's say a FIDE master, but I still think I could even be more beneficial to them. So even if it's a huge difference, because objectively speaking, yeah, a FIDE master can teach you many things. Of course, a grandmaster has more knowledge, and if you really have the money, I would recommend you a grandmaster, not only because of the knowledge, but when I was a kid and starting to play, for me it was such a motivation to work with a grandmaster. Yeah, so somehow it's very inspirational. And that part I think shouldn't be underestimated. Uh, so I have also two actually examples now I'm recalling. Yeah, I had some students with work 1700, yeah, 1800, something like that. They did 2-3 hours with me, and then they played some tournaments, and they did amazingly. And then they were so thankful to me. But I know that I couldn't help them so much in 2 hours with just chess knowledge. Yeah. So, but I do believe it could motivate them. Yeah. Just there is actually this famous saying. I mean, if you want to succeed in something, be around people who are successful there. And for that reason, I think it's more inspirational to work with grandmasters. So the second story is actually very recent. I played a tournament in Croatia recently, a classical tournament, and there I met a very good friend after some long time. Yeah, and she started the tournament with 2 draws and 1 loss, and then the fourth day we had breakfast together. After that, she won her first game. Then she said, okay, you brought me luck, we have to go to breakfast again. And we did it. And she won again. And you will guess, I mean, we went to breakfast every day and she won all her games. I mean, only in the last game, I mean, she held the winning position. It was a draw, but still, it was even against stronger opponents than in the first 3 rounds. So, of course, it was nice to see her happy, but all credits to me, of course, yeah, because I want to believe that I inspired her. And so I think this factor shouldn't be underestimated. So if you have the money, of course, I think it's a good way to spend it for a coach. I mean, for a title coach, or I don't think it's waste of money if you even hire a grandmaster. But if you don't have money, it's a different story. So what to do? I mean, it all depends about that. I think you can learn chess in other ways as well. So again, I'm a huge fan of chess books. I'm maybe the last generation who grew up actually reading chess books. At the age of 13, I think I read more than hundreds of chess books. So that's completely a freak about it. Yeah. So I spend so much time with my chess books. Also nowadays there are so many tools available. You mentioned Chessable already. There are Lichess puzzles, there are chess.com puzzles. So I think there was never such a good time to self-improve. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, and then just let's put a number on that frustration before we let people go. Are you thinking, like maybe like 1,000 on chess.com rapid would be where, you're definitely going to start getting the most bang for your buck, getting lessons from a grandmaster, and you're not going to frustrate them by not knowing your, rook and pawn end games or.
Yeah, I spoke more about feeder rating. Yeah, so to me it's
Okay.
really unusual to talk in chess.com online ratings. So I'm speaking more about online ratings. So I think a 1700 player, 1600 rated player definitely can get a lot of by working with grandmasters. But,
Excellent, excellent. And
anyway,
so you. Oh, sorry. So you also offer coaching. So if people want to sign up for coaching with you, do you want to them to contact you directly, or do you want them to contact me through LinkedIn, and then I connect you, kind of vet them? How should people reach out?
probably it's easiest. You can put my leadchess or chess.com account link there in the description of your video. I would be thankful to that, and they have my contact there, and I'm always available. Yes, it's my job.
All right. All right, perfect, perfect. And thank you once again, Sasha. This has been absolutely fantastic for me. This is really a bucket list level thing for me because, I grew up in a small town. I spent most of my life in cities, though. But like as a small town kid, I always figured I just never have the good fortune of being able to know a grandmaster and be able to pick their brains and find out. Because, like when you really realize that there's only about 1,800 grandmasters, but there's about 2,800 billionaires. For me, it kind of feels like finding a unicorn in the wild, and so that's why I get so giddy. So I really appreciate this, Sasha. Thanks a lot for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you very much for inviting me. It was a pleasure as always.
Awesome, awesome.
And maybe it's, oh, why did I see that?
Cool. Okay, I know what I'm gonna do.
I know what you're gonna do too. And
As you're talking, I'm like trying to. This is a perfect, perfect little game. I love it.
no, not that one.
I was actually like, uh-oh. I'm like, oh, no, okay.
And then you thought for a second, Emma, bad move, bad move.
I
Right.
see what you're doing, but I can't stop it.
You've absolutely pinned that one down.
Oh, yeah.
When did you take my queen? This is very distracting.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, I don't like you so much, Dan. I'm just saying.
Finally.
I really. Let's be honest here. You'll probably never speak to me again. I'm just not coming back. I don't know.